Once again, you already know what it is, and you already know where you have reached the number one collaborative professional wrestling podcast anywhere on the most highest God's green earth. Really excited about tonight's episode. Obviously, today's a big day. I want to give a big shout out to the commander-in-chief of everything pro wrestling, the one and only Conrad Cushman, and the president of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. That would be myself. Just a little play on words, man. But more importantly, I want to talk about, before we get into the show, obviously so happy to be here with Conrad and you, everybody in the chat. You guys are ready to rock and roll as usual. But obviously today is a very special day, especially being a man of color. But also I think people in general, just human beings in general, should take a second or two to celebrate Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As I put in the chat, it is truly a strong and important day every year in my life for more than just the obvious. Again, obviously being a black man, it holds great weight. Two of my heroes, obviously Dr. King won today, and also I have a great affection and appreciation for the late great Malcolm X as well. But my grandfather, the late Herman V. Bailey, marched with Dr. King on the day that he marched on Washington and gave the I Have a Dream speech, the most I consider to be the most important speech in the history of this country. There's nobody that can convince me otherwise that Dr. King's speech in Washington, D.C. on that day, there's nobody that can convince me that was not the most important speech in the history of society, literally. And my grandfather was there. I have pictures as such, and certainly something I'm very proud of. So with that being said, I want to wish everybody a very happy Martin Luther King Day. I hope that we don't just look at it as a day off from work, but as something that we can celebrate in remembrance of a man who truly loved the Most High, loved God, and he loved mankind, and all he wanted to do was to see humans come together and love one another. Unfortunately, he passed away at the hands of an assassin, and did not get a chance to see that dream come to fruition. In a lot of ways, Conrad, I don't even think we've seen that dream truly come to fruition. But we have come a long way, and I just hope that we can continue on that path that Dr. King set forth for us. I truly believe that that Dr. King was on a mission from the Most High to make a difference, and he truly did so. So with that being said, we're really happy to be with you on tonight. Conrad, God bless you, my brother. Chat, let's rock and roll. Conrad, happy Reverend Dr. King Day, and please drop that thing.
Yo. Welcome, everybody, man. Thank you for that beautiful intro, Sean. This is Clash of the Podcast, episode 125. We have a lot to get into. There's breaking news all over the place. We got Ricky Starks at House of Glory having matches with Mike Santana, talking about we're going to make it. That's always good to hear. We got Bailey supposedly going to Monday Night Raw via Adam Pearce. And we've got WWE 2K25 talking about some matches that may be put back in. Hip Hop Gamer might have been he might have called one here. So make sure you guys keep it locked in with us. We have a full plate. We're not even going to cover, I'm going to tell you now, we're not covering the Dr. Britt Baker DMD stuff because I saw it, but I didn't have time to get pictures and reference everything and fact check stuff. So I don't even know if we're going to be able to handle that. If it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's get into this chat and welcome everyone in. And first person up, sorry, clown, Joel jumped to the top with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Joel. He says, happy Monday to my two favorites, Sean and Conrad.
Appreciate you, Joel, always, man.
Thank you so much, Joel, for that. But Clown was the first one in here. He says, afternoon, everyone. Happy MLK Day. Clown, we appreciate you, dog.
Cleasy, 1-3Z, 4-2Z.
Quill says that one always gets me. What up, Conrad and Sean in chat? Your boy Sir Quills is back again to enjoy my two favorite bros, CJ and Hubs, for episode 125 of the best wrestling podcast out to the today. If I could talk, Clash of the By God podcast. We're live, pal. And he put, let's go Penta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hopefully WWE doesn't fumble him, but this is WWE, so expect normal buffoonery and incompetence.
Ooh, I would say that was rough, but I don't see any lies being told.
Vinny.
The only Vinny we like in the building. He says, happy MLK Day. Y'all have represented the Black Brotherhood so well in the wrestling community. God bless y'all. Wow, that is a major compliment. Thank you, Vinny.
It is, because there aren't many who get the chance to rep. I mean, we're seeing it more and more now, but when me and Sean started, there weren't many. Trust me. I would show up into these chats and I'm like, yep, I know what's about to happen here. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just like, man, I know that there's more wrestling fans out there and I know there's more people like me, but I'm loving seeing everyone thrive and getting some more stuff going here. So also go Bucks. You talking Milwaukee?
No, I hope he's talking Milwaukee, because if he's talking Buckeyes, then me and Vinny are gonna have a problem, my brother.
Oh man,
this is one of the biggest nights in sports for me. Period. Like this tonight, Notre Dame playing Ohio State in the national championship game. I don't even think I broke it down to you like this, Conrad. This is as important to me as the Knicks winning a championship, as the Giants, as the Mets. It is just that as important. I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was born, so today could be a huge night, but Ohio State looks so freaking good. I'm very concerned.
I sent a message to my buddy who's he went to Notre Dame. Love the guy, and he was just happy that I remembered and everything. I hadn't talked to him in a few years, so big shout out to the homie T. XG Dub says, "What up, guys? What's good, XG Dub? I know you're watching from work. Appreciate you sneaking in here."
XG Weezy.
Hub put up his stuff in here. Always make sure you guys go and check that out. I told Hub he had to tell his story every year when it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We gotta represent. So Ray says, happy Monday, guys. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Also hope everyone affected by this last snowstorm is staying safe. I don't know if there was a snowstorm here. We did get some snow, but I'm good.
Yeah, we got about 4 inches down here. I mean, it was the first big snow of the year, if you want to call it a big snow. We've really escaped major snow. 2024-25 winter season has not been that bad.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I also am over the snow, though. Like, the older I get, the more I don't care for it anymore. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
When we were kids, it was everything. Now it's kind of like just a
right. I see the intern, and he's like, oh, it's snowing out. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
You gotta let him enjoy.
Absolutely. But in my mind, I'm just like, yeah, I got to shovel this. So, no, I'm good, man. And it's also the most pointless task. You take a shovel. Imagine this. You're picking up frozen water, and you're just putting it into another spot. That's all you're doing.
That's it.
And people want to sue you for that. Like, it's crazy. Wow. Crazy.
You know?
Just simplicity breakdown. Ace, what's good? What up, everyone? I hope y'all had a great day. Always stay hydrated and stay safe out there. For sure, my brother.
Thank you.
McKinney.
Appreciate you, man. In the building, he says, yo, I'm here to talk wrestling with the Fire Live chat and the best young OGs in the game. We appreciate that. I love that term. Clash of the podcast, and let you all know there are far better things ahead of you than behind you. LFG. We appreciate you, McKinney. And he also wishes us a very happy MLK Day and talking about the dream continuing. Yeah, your mouth to God's ears, man. Thank you. M. Leezy Fo Sheezy's in the building. He says, hello, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. And let's kick this week off right with the two aces of our pro wrestling community. Happy MLK Day to you too, M. Leezy. We appreciate you. And let's go Bills. Bills did get it done. Shout out to Conrad and all the Bills fans out there.
Dub's a dub at this point. That's all I say at playoff time. That's it.
That's all that matters.
Appreciate you. If Ohio State loses, Columbus will melt as someone who lives here. I hear you, Vinny.
Ohio State's the better team, but you know something. The reason why I have hope tonight, Conrad, Vinny, is because Georgia was the better team, Penn State was the better team, and tonight Ohio State's the better team. I'm starting to think that there is a chance. There's a chance we are the team of destiny.
Let's see if they pull it off. Let's see. JCSJ in the house was good. He says, yo, run up them likes on the way in, man. Appreciate you, JCSJ. Check out his WWE video game content. He is the gameplay guy in the WGC, the wrestling games community. So make sure you check out JCSJ. Show him some love. Racism couldn't go over MLK. Man, he made racism tap out. I appreciate that. Day off. What's that? Brother.
Dude.
Always working. Sonny, what's good, Sonny? Happy New Year, my friends. Any thoughts on if an all-female wrestling promotion would work in America? Thank you for all that you do. I mean, we have WOW, right?
We do have WOW. Yep, Women of Wrestling. Yep.
Yeah. If you get someone who's got enough money and can back it and you tell great stories, I don't see why it couldn't work. That's just me.
Yes, sir.
Just me. I appreciate everyone saying that they're rooting for the Bills. Guy Will Gamble in the house saying Europe. Happy MLK Day, everyone. Appreciate you, Guy Will Gamble. Deanna says, hey, my guys. What up, Deanna?
Happy New Year and happy MLK Day to you, Deanna.
Chiefs Dynasty is the NFL's Roman Reigns 13-16 day title reign.
Now, let me tell you how messed up we are as humans. Vinny, Conrad, chat. The Chiefs have done nothing wrong. And I'm telling you, I want the Chiefs to lose, but they've done nothing. They've done nothing wrong to get this hatred. What the Chiefs are suffering from is the backlash of being a winner. And you know something? That's what happens when you win 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever years in a row. When you go to 7 straight AFC Championship games, people are like, you know, I'm sick and tired of your crap. I don't want to see you guys win anymore.
Right? I see people saying stuff about Sean's mic in the chat. Is it better?
Yeah, Conrad usually calls me out if he. Do you hear anything?
I hear you fine, but I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's that I want you to get closer to the mic, maybe.
Okay, pause. I will get closer to the mic. Pause.
Just put your mouth a little closer to the mic.
All right, take it easy. Now you're going too far. Thank you very much. That was aggressive and over the top, and I don't appreciate it. Thank you so much.
moving on, Clown. We are going to talk about PCO.
Campbell fills me on that. Pause 3 times.
Play. T-Ferg says, what's good, fellas? Shout out to MLK and all those who fought and died for what we could in our life and live our lives to the fullest. Appreciate that, T-Ferg.
Well said.
Okay, Doug, another Monday, another clash. Go Buckeyes. Conrad, Sean, chat, teach me. I'll be watching the replay at some point. Thank you, Doug. Leave your comments, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topics for today. Man, you guys are just going to work in here. Thank you. More Bill stuff. It's still quiet, a tiny bit better. Okay. Volume is low. That's a little bit better. Get closer. Let's see.
We appreciate it. I appreciate the heads up. Nothing can be fixed during the show, but we will definitely work on it for next week. For right now, I'm just getting closer to the machinery.
The mic.
It's not even
the mic. So yeah, that's fine. Getting into this show, let's do it, man. Deanna. Oh yeah, I forgot Deanna's Ohio too. Ohio, man. And go Bills. There's a lot of Ohio people in here.
All my wonderful people that support us from Ohio. I guess I'm the only Notre Dame guy in here.
They got it from Ohio.
Hey,
Cameron, anyone? All right. Let's talk the world of pro wrestling, shall we? Let's start off with last week. Let's talk about the person who's on the thumbnail. Penta. This episode is titled No Fear. Cero, Miedo. What did you think of the debut, Sean? I wanted to get your thoughts. I know I spoke to Derek on the Dynamite review. I think it's important to okay, well, what happened to Pentagon? Where did he go? Apparently he's Penta now and he's in WWE. What did you think of the debut? How it was presented? I mean, you've seen this guy probably everywhere like I have.
I mean, I thought it was done pretty well. I mean, one thing I'm not going to do is hate on WWE for no reason. If you ask me, similar to what Quilly was saying earlier, shout out to Quills, Do I think that they're going to fumble them? Of course I do. But they didn't fumble them the first night. They didn't fumble them on the opening possession to keep that line of vernacular going. I mean, it was a good opening match for his WWE career. It was a good debut. I thought that Chad Gable should be commended for his performance in the ring. I thought Penta was presented in a proper way for a newly arriving talent that wanted to get everybody excited. Good job for once by Paul Levesque and the creative team of WWE. Do I consider this to be something that's going to lead to a very successful run in World Wrestling Entertainment? No, because I don't think WWE can sustain the momentum that he achieved on opening night. But for one night and one night only, I give a big thumbs up to World Wrestling Entertainment for the Penta debut. They didn't screw it up on the first night. Let's put it that way.
It was tough. I like that you're bringing up the good because I feel like then I can bring up the negatives a little.
Well, I mean, I hate WWE and everything about it, and I never am fair with WWE, and I always talk crap about WWE, right? So,
but to be fair, on the flip side of this too, I'm more mad at the fan base a little bit.
Okay.
Why do we pretend like this person never existed? Especially the people who talk crap about AEW each and every single week. I see it. I get it. Conrad, you're just amplifying tribalism. Someone just told me that recently, and I'm just like, I'm not amplifying. Yeah, I'm just saying I bring up points. When we're talking this stuff, like you can't even bring up like, well, there's differences between the companies. Right. And I do, and I'm not Mr. Whataboutism. Like I hate when people use that term. I'm like, no, I'm making a good point here. I'm not saying stuff just to say it. Because if you say that, you're going to dismiss points that it's like, oh, well, you're missing the picture here of what I'm trying to show you.
There you go.
So think about it like this. You never knew who Pentagon was. You didn't watch Lucha Underground. You don't know about him in Impact, but you know who TNA is now. This week, we're going to talk about TNA in a little bit. Oh, now, you didn't know all of that, right? Now, all of a sudden, oh, this guy's so cool. And I heard people genuinely talking about it. And you know who goes into the same categories as Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry has been doing this gimmick for years.
For a long time.
And now everybody just figured it out. I don't know if it took TikTok for you guys to realize it, or was it that, oh, he might go to the WWE. Oh, I know who that guy is now. I just don't understand it. And I think as fans, we have to be better at making superstars or talent or big name wrestlers. You insert whatever fancy words you want to put on it. Get a thesaurus. I need that t-shirt too, Rob and Derek. I'm looking at you guys for some designs. Why can't we make people stars like we did Okada in New Japan, Tanahashi in New Japan? Why can't we do the same thing with people who, when they're in other places? Like, I just don't get it. And is part of that on Tony Khan? Sure. That's not how he presented them, but that's fine. Not everyone. And TNA didn't present him like he was in Lucha Underground either. Lucha Underground was where he was beast. And I think that'll probably always be the place that booked him the best.
The best.
Because he was the star there. Here, who knows how it's going to wind up? If you had to predict, Sean, I saw a poll on this, and I want your opinion. What kind of match does Pentagon have at WrestleMania? And the choices were a significant singles match, a multi-person match, teaming with Rey Mysterio, or WrestleMania card. No way.
He'll be on WrestleMania because he's still relatively fresh going into the new year. It'll be a multi-person match. He will be in a match where he gets lost in the shuffle.
I selected the same thing. Going into more of Pentagon, though, I thought Penta looked great. I'm not the biggest fan of his music choice and the jacket he comes out in.
I'm not the biggest fan of. That's putting it mildly.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. Listen, these dudes try every week. The only time they get it right is with the Bloodline. Like, listen, with solo
machine guns.
Where's Rob? Fist up! Rat-a-tat-tat! Like, what is this?
WWE has some of the most iconic music in the history of the business, and for the last 10, 15 years, I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah. I'm going over here. I'm going to pull up some of the chat stuff. I'm going to put up Penta's picture so you guys can see if anyone didn't happen to see it. Deanna said, I loved his presentation and debut. His interview after the match was awesome.
I would agree with that because it was very passionate. I agree.
You picked the right place. I think you would have got a better reaction in LA. I don't know if you want to play the hindsight game, Sean, but
And I was still California, right? So I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. I just think the reaction could have been better in that big city, like LA moment, blah blah. Like you know,
I
but
don't know. I get what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think it was that far away from that general area where it wouldn't have been. I mean, it was still California. It was still shout out to all my Latino brothers and sisters. It was still a pretty strong Latino community. So it resonated. It resonated.
McKinney said, awesome debut. Unfortunately, Chad Gable had to lose, but he was the best person for the job to make Penta look good. Plus the promo, even though it was mostly in Spanish, you could feel the emotions.
But I want to give a shout out to McKinney for that point right there, because I feel like in a lot of ways, if you wanted to showcase the the American made stable, how come one of the other guys couldn't have gotten to the ring with Penta?
Yo, don't get me started about Chad Gable. By the way, there's a lot of people who owe me apologies. And I've only gotten one so far. I want more apologies for what I said about Chad Gable. I told y'all it was cooked.
You called it. Shout out to you. I don't think I fought you on that, but if I did,
it wasn't you. But I'm just saying, there were people like, Conrad, you got to let it play out. Conrad, you got to wait. I'm like, nah, player. I know how this goes. There's no way. You can't lose 7 times and be like, believe in me now. This is what I'm talking about when I say people get Dolph Ziggler. I can't see Dolph lose 7 championship matches. They're like, believe in him now. I don't. Right. I just don't. Right. And that's nothing against the person's skills. It's just eventually you're like, yeah, I'm done with this.
It's called you being an intelligent adult that picks up on the fact that they lose every single time.
Facts. They had this brother's merch up instantly, Sean. Very smart move. I saw some people say stuff about like, maybe AEW should have capitalized on this better. And maybe that's something for TK and them to consider in the future. But I think they don't. The wrestlers own all their own stuff. Like, that's the difference. I want people to see it. Like, we're not mentioning it here, but Brody King put in for 2 trademarks this week. Right. Brody King owns those, not Tony Khan. Tony gets the money from the TV deal. Like, you guys perform for me. I'm taking that money, and then I'll allocate it how I want to use it. Mm-hmm. You could put stuff with our banner under it, and maybe I take a piece of the percentage, but WWE, no one's beating them in selling masks, making those moves. Like, this is great. Is he going to be the number 2 luchador under Rey Mysterio, do you think, after this, like, of all time? That they've been searching for that for years. For years, bro.
That's not saying much, though.
What do you mean?
The answer is yes, but that's not saying much. Rey Mysterio is cooked, in my opinion, as it pertains to, and I'm saying this with a great deal of respect, even though it sounds like a disrespectful comment. Rey Mysterio is cooked. Rey Mysterio's best days are long behind him, and that has nothing to do with my point. My point is that unless you're in San Diego, nobody cares about Rey Mysterio, respectfully. So to answer your question, Penta is going to be the second most popular luchador, but again, that's not saying much. And that's not a knock on Rey Mysterio, and it's not a knock on Penta. It's because WWE doesn't put enough emphasis on that type of wrestler. The luchadors are not as appreciated and valued TV time wise, storyline wise, as they are. Look at Legado de Fantasma, Dragon Lee. Good point. But Legado de Fantasma, like, by the way, they would be considered luchadors in my opinion, unless I'm mistaken, right?
They wrestle the lucha libre style. I don't know if that would be I don't know if you need to have the mask to be a luchador.
If you have to have a mask to be a luchador, okay, then the answer is yes, but I don't think that's saying much.
They're looking for someone to get that demographic, like you said, of Latinx people who will migrate over to this show because of them. Rey Mysterio did that. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Rey Mysterio being on UPN, was it UPN when he was on SmackDown in 2002? I think so. Like, that was humongous for them. Big deal. Mark Henry.
I want to add some clarification, though, to my point about Rey. Rey is he's already a Hall of Famer, but Rey Mysterio deserves to be where he's at. He is a legend, and he is the greatest luchador of all time. What I'm trying to say is that the way WWE presents him in 2024, 2025 is not of great importance unless he's in San Diego. So if you don't take him in seriously or make important things to do with him, then why should we? So at the end of the day, it's going to go down the same way with Penta. When WWE starts putting Penta on the main event, and when WWE starts putting him in 6- and 8-man tag matches, we're going to lose interest as well. That's what happens. That's how it plays out. That's how it goes. And then when WWE goes to Mexico and he's featured in the United States title match, then, oh, look at WWE. Look how wonderful they're featuring Penta. No, grow up. Understand that WWE does things geographically, which is a smart business choice, but at the same time, it's not doing anything good for your talent. Penta is going to fall by the wayside. I'd never liked the idea of Penta coming to World Wrestling Entertainment. In about 6 months, you'll understand why.
I think his brother not being there right now will help revitalize him, though. Like right when you think things might be tapering off, you could bring in Rey Fenix and boom, you got magic again. Tag division. You guys are going to light it up over there. Go ahead.
No,
Speak your truth, man. Get fired up, man.
No,
tired of this.
Penta is a fantastic talent. A fantastic talent, but I've just seen it happen too many times. World Wrestling Entertainment does not value people enough to invest TV time in them to make us care as much as we should. The thing, I mean, it feels like I'm beating a dead horse, but I don't care. I'm going to talk about Bobby Roode. I'm going to talk about Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura is the reigning United States heavyweight champion, and no one cares.
50 days.
And no one cares. Do you know why? Because nobody cared about him because he wasn't on TV for 2 years, on and off. Nobody cared when he challenged Seth Rollins back-to-back for the World Heavyweight Championship. At the end of the day, you're cooked, bro. When you get cooked, it's very hard to put that back in the pan. I'm just running with the cooked analogy, forgive me. But
no,
at the end of the day,
you're fine.
So it's like, give me a break, man. Like, he's the reigning United States heavyweight champion, and nobody cares. So it's the same thing with Penta. Unless they feature him properly, we're going to go I'm not going to say 6 months from now. 3 months from now, we're going to be like, yo, yeah, Penta's in WWE, or Penta's in NXT, or Penta is fighting for the Speed Championship, like M. Leezy talked about. And by the way, M. Leezy bringing up Penta fighting for the Speed Championship, not out of the realm of possibility, in my opinion.
Could happen.
3 months from now, will we see Penta challenging for the Twitter Championship? I think it's not beyond my realm of possibility.
You never know. Guy Will Gamble brings up some good points. Let me go back to the chat here. Nobody knew who Ric Flair was until he was the real world champion, allegedly. Eye roll. Yeah, that's true. Right. BJ says, I think Henry was TikTok and socials. I think Penta is solely based off of Lucha Underground and AEW. Yeah, it's just people don't want to admit it. It's kind of weird. Deanna says pre-show Mania match. Ooh. I don't even know if they do pre-show anymore. Isn't SmackDown like the pre-show now?
No, they have pre-show matches, and Deanna, and you know what? Whether it's SmackDown, WrestleMania SmackDown, or the pre-show, Deanna is 100% right.
He better not be teaming with Ray. I'm holding my breath.
And by the way, Guy Will Gamble, how much more of a cop-out can you have?
By the way, if Rey Mysterio gets jumped, there will be no pity. I stopped feeling pity for Rey Mysterio after Batista beat him up. I'm like, look, man, you keep messing with these people and doing the wrong stuff. Dave, you're hurting me. And when Batista threw him down, I was like, no, beat him down, Batista, because he was wrong here. And if Dragon Lee beat him up, I wouldn't feel bad. He'd even give you the match at WrestleMania. You guys are in his faction. You're the homies. You've been rolling with this dude, taking beatings for him. And he's like, nah, I'll team with Andrade instead. Like, what is this? He's not down with us. Just, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. WWE cultivates the mindset, and their fans will be along the lines of, oh, the welcome to the big leagues line. Yo, I hated that. That's a direct shot at anybody who's not you.
At anybody who's not you. Exactly.
Anybody. And I'm just like, yo, what is this, dude? Like, and one of my aggravating things is, can I just say this too, Sean? And tell me if I'm being unfair. You can stop me at any point. You could have had him. You could have had him years ago. I don't get it. Like, it's annoying sometimes when people say that stuff. Like, yeah, if you thought that much of him, you could have had him. And I hope Penta gets used to the ropes, by the way. I know he tried to do that springboard leg drop. And WWE's ropes, if people don't know, they're actually made of rope. It's not cable like in AEW stuff, which you can bounce off of better. Let's go back to the chat, though. Penta's debut went off really well. I'm hoping he keeps building on the momentum. More like Def Rebel need to go, BJ said. Chris LeClaire, welcome. Bailey was traded to Raw. She will face Nia Jax tonight. I did see that, Chris. I'm glad that portal, I'm glad I understand the rules of it, and it just randomly happens who's going where.
By the way, real quick, we do have a tangible thing that we can look into about whether or not Penta is being booked correctly. Because to me, why would Penta not be on the show tonight? I hope he is. We need to look out for that. Will Penta be on Raw tonight on Netflix? That'll give you some strong indication.
Real quick, while we're on Raw, I got to give them props. I did think last week they did hit the sweet spot with that like 2.5 hour mark. Like I wasn't that mad, but maybe that was enough for the 3 hour fans.
I'm cool with it. I mean, I like the idea of not knowing when the main event match is going to end, so that's cool.
Yeah. Jocelyn says this week in wrestling was an interesting one. Speaking of shirts, Hub, shirts are $14 on his site. Grab you one.
Oh,
there you go.
Well, I appreciate that.
Right now on Hubbard Wrestling Weekly's Threadless store,
there you go.
In the description below. It worked for Mikey Whipwreck. Yeah, Mikey Whipwreck held it down. WWE already fumbled the Motor City Machine Guns theme song as well as their arrival if done properly. Would have gotten a much bigger pop on their opening night, but of course, that's a good idea. Chad Gable knows more of the lucha style. Yeah, I hear you guys with that. We do love Ray here. Yeah, I love Ray Mysterio.
We all love Ray, but that doesn't mean he's in 2025. He's relevant.
I think they okey doked Ray into sticking around and signed his kid. Yeah, it's the game. It reminds me of someone else. Somebody gonna get their wig split. I ain't gonna mention their name, but beat him up, break his neck. We'll sign your son to a ID deal. Yep. Yeah, I bet, buddy.
I bet, Conrad, because that's exactly what happened.
Yo, what's good? Jesse? Hold on here. I see he's coming in. He had one match already cooked. We were talking about Ray when we were speaking of cooked. Well, that was Sean specifically. I think Ray could go, but they're not going to use Ray like that. Like Sean said, they already got the juice they wanted from that. Like,
shout out to Jesse. He'll be joining us for our Clash of the Podcast Royal Rumble preview on Thursday, January 30th at 9:05 p.m.
Thank you, good sir. Ray's not cooked, but it's time for him to start putting over the future of lucha because he's been putting people over though. Like since he came back, Rollins. Ray doesn't win very often.
He doesn't. I would love to know his win-loss record the last 2 years.
Wait a second here. T-Ferg says, to be fair to WWE, AEW doesn't push luchadors at the top of the card either. Is Rey Mysterio the only lucha to hold a world title in a major U.S. promotion? Depends on what you count as a major U.S. promotion.
Well, to me, it depends on what you call a luchador because Eddie Guerrero definitely was a luchador in my book. Mask, no mask. Like, come on, man. There comes a point we got to stop picking for straws here. Eddie.
Then wouldn't Chris Jericho be a luchador then too? He wrestled in Mexico.
I understand that it becomes a slippery slope, but
no, I'm just saying to his point. He said AEW, their first world champ was a luchador. Then, if we're going by that criteria,
but I mean, for me, it's more along the lines of Ray became. Oh, so I'm gonna make me say this. Rey Mysterio won the World Heavyweight Championship in 2006 because...
Oh, come on.
Do I need to say it out loud?
No, just leave that where it is.
Yeah, and I'm not going to but let's be grown up and realize that's what happened. I'm not saying it wasn't a feel-good story. I'm not saying it wasn't very nice.
There was a choice in that situation.
Okay.
It could have been someone else. I'm not going to say their name and disrespect them either because they're a good pro wrestler.
Well, I'm not disrespecting anyone.
No, but I think people will perceive what I'm saying is disrespectful too. They had another choice that they could have made, which was more family oriented, we'll say.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they could have did that, but they didn't do that either.
So we'll keep it classy. But so if you want to go there about Ray winning the title in 2006, I mean, if the late great Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul, come on. So that kind of nullifies that point a little bit, respectfully. And no, they're not prominently used. I agree with you.
Okay, as long as we're seeing the same point here when it comes down to the whole Penta thing. But you know what? I wish him the best. I want to see him in a big spot. And I think if he plays his cards right and he can get over enough, I think he could be in the semi-mains often. I'm talking that higher, I call it the Eddie Guerrero spot kind of in the Attitude Era per se. If it's done correctly.
But let me ask you this, and then we can move on because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. At the end of the day, by the way, I see you, Golden. Everybody fears Golden Star 26. Everybody fears he'll be in the LWO. Do I need to do the theme music? You guys ready? Viva la raza! Okay, so at the end of the day, right? we all want Penta to be prominently featured, but let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you this, Conrad. Are we more confident he'll be prominently featured? Or are we more confident he'll probably end up on Speed, challenging for the Speed Championship?
I am 50-50. Because it could go, you could either elevate him. Like I said, if I see him I'm trying to think of who's like the measuring stick currently. Like if he beats Seth, he's on his way up. That's what I'll say. If he beats Seth Rollins, you're on your way up, player.
There you go. Fair enough.
Byron Cutler is talking about those intergender matches. We talked about it in the beginning because I don't have it yet, but I know. Chad Schrader, what's good, man? What's good? Wrestlers that carry that welcome to the big leagues. You finally made it mantra about WWE as well. There's legends out there that talk all that kind of stuff too. Listen, I'll always ask people this to challenge people. What is better for someone as a pro wrestler? Is it the person who went and traveled internationally all around the world? I've been to Japan, Mexico, the US, Canada, South America, wherever you want to say, right? I've wrestled in all those places and I wrestle for multiple companies. Or is it the guy who stayed in WWE his whole career? Is that more impressive? Or is it more impressive that you traveled the world and did all those different styles? It depends on like what you believe a pro wrestler should be and what pro wrestling is.
I have a very interesting and applicable real life situation to comment on what you just said. When I started my new job, I will not say where the job is, but I will say that it's a brand new, different field than anything I've been used to previously, right? So when you go into that field, you know, you're kind of the odds are a little bit against you because they're like, "Have you ever done this before?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay, we're going to hire you because we think you're awesome, but you know, you have to pretty much learn everything from scratch." Okay, no problem. They love that, and the reason why they love that, Conrad, chat, is because they can teach you their way. You don't have any you don't have any history with Company A doing the same thing when you come to Company B, because Company B is the only thing you've ever known because you've never done this before. To your point, WWE likes this whole idea of building up people within their system because when you have traveled the world and when you have been to other promotions, you're used to doing certain things a certain way. And then it's almost like WWE is trying to deprogram you from the worldly experience that you've obtained because they want you to do things the WWE way.
Interesting. And I think Delay Gratz, what up? Welcome. I think he's in agreement with you. He says Penta's biggest obstacle will be WWE's Latino booking. They don't seem to allow Latinos to beat larger wrestlers.
There you go. There you go. So do I feel confident? Thank you very much for the comment, Gratz. So do I feel confident that Penta is going to be prominently featured on WWE Raw? No, I don't.
Shout out to MJB in the place to be. Appreciate you. Says, hey, Usos, what's good? What's good? Chris bringing up good points too about the women's division. I'm loving it, chat. Chad, appreciate you. I see you talking the Bills. Hubs is speaking facts, Deanna said. Pro Wrestler Shoot, interesting. He says, I doubt they'll put the world title on Penta, but I'm sure he'll be featured well. He did great on Monday. The negative prediction from a certain fan base are starting to be forced. See, you're putting certain fan base on it. I don't think it's forced, though. It's kind of what you've shown, too.
This is coming from a place of seeing what's been done in the past.
There's a fear of the LWO and all that stuff like instantly, and it's still not really. And it's not over yet. Trust me, there's gonna be a night where we see some trios, 8-man tag, like something's gonna happen. It's like, okay, and maybe it's getting him used to the style. That's absolutely fine. I have no issue with it, but just
act like this is just a figment of our imagination. Like we've seen this happen before.
And he didn't say us, though. He put certain fan base.
I'm not talking about Jesse. Jesse just made a point. I'm just saying to whoever feels like, yo, you know, why are you guys being so negative about Penta's possible career in WWE? Because we've seen this happen. Look, nobody would like to see Penta do better, do well more than me, and I'm sure I speak for you as well. But judging from the past, why would I expect them to do him right when they've done so many other people wrong? Why?
Listen, right now, I'm hoping the brother can get the Intercontinental title right now. That's the title on Raw, right? Yeah. I'm getting lost with the championships, but I'd like to see him get to that point. I hope we get there. Delay Grat says the certain fan base are those pesky fans who have watched every show and can't name one Latino world champion since Rey and Alberto Del Rio. Yeah. I would certainly love for Penta's run to go much better. Guy Will Gamble says, it's in his hands.
Last name Lopez?
Who?
Isn't Seth Rollins' last name Lopez?
Colby, yep.
So he's a Latino world champion.
He has been, yes.
There you go.
There you go.
Go.
Moving on, folks. Moving on.
I'm not being serious.
I know you are. Sean, would you mind taking over this one for me?
Absolutely. Corey Graves' commentary about this very publicized situation going on with him as it relates to his, I can't call it anything other than demotion, but I guess you can look at it any other way. This is Corey Graves' Twitter, and it says, quote, "Imagine chasing your dream, then being told, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream." That's in reference to the fact that he's a former wrestler and I believe suffered from some injuries. And then you are dedicated, you dedicate your life to something, quote unquote, dream adjacent and being pretty effing awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough to do your own job. Just in case you wondered where I've been, end quote. I don't see anything wrong with. I love Pat McAfee, but I don't see anything wrong with what Corey Graves had to say. I don't think he's wrong about one thing. It does sound like sour grapes. It does sound like a little bit of hate, but it's the comment is founded in truth. What do you think?
Two things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as famous as this is about Pat McAfee. Let's keep it a stack. Like Pat McAfee.
Obviously, it's Pat McAfee, right?
Yeah, he took the spot away from Corey. I just can't believe he couldn't be on SmackDown. Like you let Wade Barrett hop over him. Like I don't know how you chat. I don't have a feeling about wrestlers' work. Like Sean, I'm sure Casey, Matt Lopez, there's probably a bunch of people who, if you ever ask me what was said by commentary on Raw, AEW, I promise you, like, my brain turns them off. It hasn't worked since JR. I promise you, like, peak prime JR. I do not listen to commentary. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they programmed me to be like that. I blame Michael Cole. But I just can't wrap my head around it, so I don't know what they're saying.
Better, Chad. We appreciate you.
Yeah, much respect, Chad. I don't know. I'm trying to get everybody's comments up here, but I don't know, Sean. Like, what do you think of it? Because I see his point on one hand, and on the other hand, I understand why WWE is making the move that they're making as well. But how many times is this guy going to be allowed to leave, and then you're like, hey, back to back up for you. Appreciate you. You know?
Well, let's just talk about the here and now, right? Let's talk about where Pat McAfee is tonight. Pat McAfee's in Atlanta, Georgia, covering the national championship game.
Where the players play. Sorry. That was a little Jermaine Dupri for you.
That was pretty good, though. I didn't see that one coming. That's why it was funny. Pat McAfee's in ATL right now, covering the national championship game. So is Corey going to be called up to be the co-counsel, the co-commentary guy tonight? Probably not. They'll probably bring Tessitore back or switch over Wade Barrett. But my point in saying that is, I think Corey Graves is well within his rights to be pissed off. First of all, there's no reason why SmackDown can't be a 3-person team, or Raw for that matter. There's no reason. If you feel like Corey is too opinionated that he might clash with Pat McAfee, so a 3-person, commentary booth might be too much for Raw. Okay, cool. There's no reason why Tessitore and Wade Barrett cannot work with Corey Graves. So give me a break on that. Because I'll tell you this. Him going back down to NXT, there's a 3-person booth.
Well,
and I don't even remember the other guy's name, respectfully.
Vic Joseph.
Vic Joseph. I have no shade. I just didn't remember his name. Oh God! Did you just do the Snap Famous thing? See?
No.
Yes, you did.
Over at Threadless.com, we do have a Snap.
For the record, Conrad did the Snap Famous thing when I forgot Vic Joseph's name. But seriously, so if I was Corey Graves, you know what? I'll go on the record. Corey Graves was right about everything he said. He's a little bit mad, a little bit salty, but he's right.
So you believe this is the truth and not a work? Because I'm questioning it still a little bit. I'm like,
unless there's going to be a match between Pat McAfee and Corey Graves, then no. Unless Corey Graves has been cleared after like 7 years, no.
Yeah, Corey Graves, I think, was being put in a position to take over for Michael Cole. I think they've moved on from that, in all honesty.
He called him an heir apparent again, like I think it was Survivor Series here with the heir apparent Corey Graves. Like Corey Graves was being, because Jocelyn's 100% right. He was being groomed to be the next wave in WWE commentary, and now you push him down to NXT. If I were Corey Graves, the first phone call I'd make would be to AEW.
What's good, Tokyo? Yeah, I don't think they're gonna let him make that phone call. Not gonna front. Some people really want Logan Paul to win the Royal Rumble. They gotta chill with that.
Whoever some people need to be punched in the mouth.
Matt says, I feel Corey's a better play-by-play guy than Pat and Barrett. The fact that he couldn't be on SmackDown with Joe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they just built that up. And honestly, I'm going to say this. A lot of people really love Joe Tessitore. He just reminds me of Michael Cole. Like, I
like Joe Tessitore. You know why? Because when you think about Mike Adamle and the guy who was there recently is like last year, 2 years ago, I forget his name. There are people who come over from mainstream television or mainstream sports, and they do not get it. I respect Joe Tessitore because Joe Tessitore gets it.
Should they have removed the brother from Raw? What was his name who took over for Raw? He was like an MMA fighter or MMA commentator, excuse me.
I think that's what, when I said I don't remember his name, that's who I was talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I thought he did an all right job.
Jimmy Smith, shout out to
Jimmy Smith. Yeah, like how'd you feel Jimmy Smith did? Like,
I thought it was awful.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think Tessitore is the best real sports announcing guy to come over probably ever.
Next time you're watching SmackDown for one of those horrible 3-hour shows, and it's horrible because of the time frame, I want you to listen to him and tell me if you just put Michael Cole's voice over the words he's saying.
Okay.
He said, "Oh my," and I was like, "Oh no." Oh, like I want him to be himself.
I want to encourage your mind to change a little bit, bro.
Sean,
have to get to a point.
Yeah, that is Michael Cole's phrase, though.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying to you is, brother, is that we have to start. I'm including myself. We have to stop not acknowledging Michael Cole as being one of the GOATs. I know it's hard. I don't like it. I don't appreciate. But 1997 was how many years ago?
Rob knows. Anytime he says the same thing to me all the time, Michael Cole gets a compliment and then he will immediately, like that night, do something to diminish it. And I'm like, this is who's the best we're talking. This is who I'm supposed to respect more. And he'll just do something where I'm like, oh, brother.
Can I take a moment to do a quick list?
Go ahead.
No particular order, except when I get to Michael Cole. Michael Cole is in a particular order. Everybody else is just above Michael Cole. Are you ready?
Okay.
Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross, Vince McMahon, Roddy Piper-ish, maybe not. Tony Schiavone, about 5-6 people.
Joey Styles?
No, Joey Styles for sure. Michael Cole. Like, Michael Cole's like maybe the 7th, 8th, 9th best announcer of all time. I mean, Gordon Soley above. Eric Bischoff above. But are you going to say that Michael Cole's not better than Mike Tenay? I think Michael Cole's better than Mike Tenay. I don't like Michael Cole, but I respect how long he's been doing this.
Yeah, listen, I'll put him over. It's also who produced him. He was unbearable for some years too, though. Like that heel run, oh, never again.
Right.
Never again.
Oh my God, Emleezy, I think I said Gorilla Monsoon. Please tell me I said that.
Yes.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, you said Bobby and Gorilla off rip.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying Michael Cole is not my favorite ever.
Morrow did it shorter time than him, and I thought he crushed it.
Okay, I would probably give the nod over Michael Cole, Mauro Ranallo. But 1997 is a long time ago.
There was someone else too besides Gordon Soley I wanted to name, and I can't remember from the past. He was an old school WCW NWA announcer.
Bob
Geigel? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna look it up right now because when I put in Gordon Soley and Bob, the other name's gonna come up. But listen, while I'm looking that up, Michael Cole is one of the GOATs. If your GOAT list is more than 10, then Michael Cole has to be one of the GOATs.
Yeah, listen, I respect what Michael Cole does. I don't want you guys to think that that's what it is. I just want Joe Tessitore to be Joe Tessitore, though. Like I know who he is from sports. He has his own stuff. Like, be yourself.
Bob Connell.
Bob Connell, thank you. Like, it's great. And listen, we all know this too. They always wanted him to take JR's spot for years. JR actually fought it for way longer than I thought he'd be able to, but it didn't go down that way. It's what it is. Mean Gene on commentary was rare, but I wouldn't give it. Mean Gene didn't have enough longevity in the seat.
Shout out to
best interviewer of all time, though.
Yeah, shout out to Delayed Grats, but I wouldn't put Mean Gene in the commentator category. Let me ask you this: who would you give the nod to, Michael Cole or
underrated one clown, Dave Prazak?
Touche. Michael Cole or take your pick of AEW guys. Tony Schiavone's better, obviously.
Yeah.
Taz, that's close.
Are we talking modern day JR?
Yeah. I mean, modern day, to me.
Modern JR is grumpy grandpa.
I don't do modern day. JR is JR. If you're going to talk JR, you're talking JR from 1990 all the way up till now.
Okay. Yeah, JR. I think I would take Cole over. Listen, man, I've been promoting they need to get Walker Stewart. I think he's the best commentator in pro wrestling right now. But yeah, go ahead then and rock with I'll take Cole over like Excalibur.
All I'm saying is I don't like Michael Cole, but I respect Michael Cole. Is that fair?
Yeah. BJ said Don West.
Don West is not bad. Shout out to BJ. I don't think Don West is better than Michael Cole.
I respect Don West for trying to do it and getting better at it. Like, he was probably someone who really worked at it. Like, you could tell from the beginning days of TNA till now. Yeah, Delay Grats, I'm not a big fan of Excalibur. I find him unbearable at times sometimes. Like, maybe it's just he's been in that spot for too long and they need to switch it up. But I'd like to see a switch up in how they do it.
Greatest Michael Cole call of all time. You ready?
Go ahead.
The Rock makes me sick. When he beat up Mankind with a chair at the Royal Rumble 99.
Yeah, that was when Michael Cole getting t-shirts put over his face. Best role for him.
Makes me sick.
Yeah, it's like Coach on commentary. I was never the biggest fan of like Coach and Al Snow when they tried to do.
Coach, I don't think was very good on commentary.
He was better at backstage interviews. Like, some people got the Mean Gene in them, where I'm like, no, you're better at that.
Like, you know what? Big shout out to Byron Saxton. I think he finally is doing what he's best at.
Yeah. Oh, Ian Riccaboni, I'll take over Cole, I think, too. But Ian's got to be there, though. Like, he's got to be there more. But yeah.
Let's move on, because we can talk about this all night, too.
Yeah, well, we were on it, man. So Corey Graves, at the end of the day, so you think he deserves better, though, for what he's done?
I think Corey Graves is like Sean Hubbard. I think sometimes Sean Hubbard gets mad. I think giving you guys some insight that Conrad knows as my friend, you guys are all family, so I'll give you guys some insight. I think when Sean gets mad, he wears his heart on his sleeve. I think when Sean gets pissed off, he'll probably tweet something he probably shouldn't. And I think Corey Graves did that. Should he have more composure? Yes. But do I think he was wrong? I don't.
I'm mad at you.
If he, because it's over. Because he's not coming back up to Raw.
Because here's the thing, guys. Here's the question I would ask. And this is just pretend like you're at your place of work. Anybody. How am I supposed to be better than Pat McAfee? I want to be in this business. I have shown you my dedication to this business. You put someone else over me every single time. Well, then how do I get better than him? You going to let me be a bigger star than him? Can I say whatever I want? No. So then it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like that's rough a little bit. Yeah. Delay grats. I'm looking back at this one more time. This might be where the iron meets the I don't know. That one I'd have to seriously sit there and think about between those two. Because I don't know.
Excalibur is really smart, but I don't think he doesn't project very well.
He has Mike Tenay vibes to me. Like he knows a lot of the moves that I wish sometimes people would know, but there's other times where I'm like, the lead guy? I don't know.
There you go.
But I try to say it respectfully. I know they all have a tough job to do. Corey Graves has a tough job to do, and I don't think Corey Graves belongs on NXT with Booker T and Vic Joseph, with all due respect to them.
I don't think, as much as I love Booker T, I don't think Booker T belongs on commentary, period.
Yeah, I've never liked Booker T's commentary, even during the SmackDown days.
Yeah.
Like they always say, you can type it out and get in all your feelings, but just don't push send.
There you go, McKinney. There you go.
That's a fact, man.
He has blackballed himself now. Now it's a wrap. Like, I'd be surprised if I see him on WWE TV ever again.
Well, you're not gonna. I hope you're not just gonna pay him.
Well, you said you don't think he'll ever go to AEW because he's gonna be under contract. What I'm trying to say is either they're gonna let him out of his contract or he's gonna earn his money being at home. They don't mind paying people to go home. You know that.
Yeah, or it's a work.
It's not a work. What work he can't wrestle unless you know what?
They've been talking about that for like a year or two.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can't. Maybe it's gonna be McAfee versus Graves at WrestleMania.
There won't be any time for any of that. So we'll see.
That's better than I did. See?
Yeah. Booker T is the only one that can commentate his own beatdown, though. That was great in TNA. That's probably why they think he's good on commentary. That whole Chet Lemon and Black Snow, him and Kevin Nash being funny.
Yeah, there's no question. Booker T is funny. It's just
Sean, when I bring up the name Jey Uso, what comes to your mind? What word comes to your mind? Seriously.
Oh, seriously.
What's the one word that you want to say when you see Jey Uso?
Underappreciated.
I was hoping you said yeet, because he's on the poster for Saturday night's main event happening in San Antonio, Texas, with the Heartbreak Kid. He has been booked for the world title match. They may have had a little flub-a-dub in talking about this. Jey Uso, he's got the main event match, we'll say. I don't know if that's going to be the main event segment. I think something else is going to end the show, but they have given it to him. He's also in the Royal Rumble. He is double dipping the chip. So they have a chance to do something here with him. First, Intercontinental title match here. Sheamus is going after the championship that has always eluded him. The Intercontinental Championship against, you want a friend? Get a dog. Braun Breaker.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
What do you think here? Is it time to give Sheamus the belt, or do you break hearts one more time? This is a WrestleMania match if you do it.
I don't mind. I don't mind if Sheamus wins. I don't think he will. I think Braun Breaker is the forever Intercontinental Champion. And I think Braun Breaker will probably retain.
Interesting. Man, look at this. Look at this. These guys are going in. We also have Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman. Let's keep that moving. Jacob Fatu, go. And the match that we're here to talk about, Jey Uso and Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship again. Is this just a match, Sean, in your heart? You're the Jey Uso fan here. Is this just a match in your heart, or is there a purpose to this?
I'm not just a Jey Uso fan. I'm a Jey Uso believer. But I'd be foolish to have legitimate hope that Jey Uso is going to be the world champion. Shout out to Emily Z. I see you. For me, it's a tough thing because I don't think that he would have been Intercontinental Champion if there wasn't that much of a backlash, back in October. So thankfully we got that out the way. He has that extra piece of gold on his resume. And you guys know I'm really big about resumes. I believe if you deserve something to be on your resume, it should be. And I believe wholeheartedly, especially now with there being two world champions, right? If it was just still the undisputed WWE Championship, even I would have to say, nah, Jey Uso's not quite there yet. The WWE has two world titles, and it's very obvious that the secondary title is the World Heavyweight title until Roman Reigns wins it.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But Jey Uso should be World Heavyweight Champion. Jey Uso should have a run, short, long, pause, doesn't matter.
Play.
But he won't, and it's a shame because he deserves it. And when you deserve it and you don't get it, to me, it's really a miscarriage of justice, man. A real life miscarriage of justice. That man is still hotter than fish grease. The crowd reactions are still through the roof. He's still selling crazy merchandise. He's the man. But, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be the next World Heavyweight Champion. But if he is, I will be online live immediately following Saturday night's main event. I will be signing on, and I will give a live reaction if Jey Uso is the World Heavyweight Champion. He deserves it, but I do not think he gets it done.
I would like to see like a good showing for him, which I think he'll get in that match. I just want the reality for me is that Gunther is one of Triple H's guys. Like, you have to see these things. Like, okay, that's his guy. He's not going to lose to someone that's not another Triple H guy, or at least unless it's of the star power of Punk, Roman, Cody. Like, even if you're not Triple H guys, like, that's who he's going to end up having to put over. I just don't think this is the bigger story here for Jade, at least not quite yet. I can't believe in it. Like, as much as what you're saying makes so much sense, Sean. Like, listen, I've come a long way from being the dude in 2020 where I was like, nah, man, I don't believe in this at all, to now I'm like, maybe you could do this if you wanted to, but do you want to do it? Like, that's the question to the powers that be in WWE. Do you want to make this Jey Uso thing happen? Like, look at Jimmy. Do you feel like they're trying to push him? Like, I know you said there was some correlation that you wanted to make to this as well. So maybe it's best I kick it to you with this Jimmy and Jey stuff that you wanted to get into.
Well, fantastic segue you just set me up for. The bottom line is this, man. At the end of the day, there was some commentary that was made by Carmelo Hayes, storyline commentary about how Jimmy Uso is living in Jey Uso's shadow. I think it's pretty accurate. Win, lose, or draw at Saturday night's main event, Jey Uso is challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso is the former Intercontinental Champion, and Jey Uso is universally recognized as the better brother in 2025. What is next for Jimmy? I think we're in a very, very big year for Jimmy Uso as it relates to where do we go from here. And you know what the sad part is, Conrad, and it's a theory that I have. I think Jimmy's success or lack of success will determine Jay's future as well. Because if Jimmy cannot flourish as a singles competitor, if Jimmy does not have the same success, which he hasn't so far, but let's give him some time, it does not have the same success as Jey Uso, then Jimmy Uso's not going to have a place in World Wrestling Entertainment, which means that Jimmy Uso would need to reunite with his brother on a more consistent basis. So Jimmy's future,
to have purpose, yeah.
Jimmy's future is directly tied with his twin brother, because I'm telling you something right now. It doesn't matter if Jey Uso is the most popular guy on Raw right now, arguably. It doesn't matter, with no argument, he has the biggest entrance on Monday Night Raw. It doesn't matter how much merchandise he sells. If the powers that be come to Jey Uso, and I'm taking this point from you, Conrad, if the powers that be come to Jey Uso and say, hey, listen, man, we love you, you're doing your thing, but if you don't team with your brother again, Jimmy doesn't really have a place here. Jay's going to team with his brother, and the Usos will be reunited permanently, and this whole thing will be over. So,
to give credit to Triple H, because I don't do it very often, so mark this one down, Jesse. I know you're listening. The idea of Jay, if they were going to reunite them, I think they would have done it already. So this is where I have to give them credit. They're smart enough to know he's still selling shirts. Jey Uso's still moving merch. People are getting the Yeet glasses. I see them everywhere. I see the Yeet shirts in all the wrestling places. Like, okay, we're moving some gear here. You have it happening.
The more you talk, the more annoyed I get, bro.
I know. Dude, you're the reason why I'm bringing this up, though. Like, I see it now. So the fans are behind him. The day will come, though. You can't keep beating him like this, too. Like I said, what did Matt just say? Is this the third time he said, or was it someone else who said that, or was it MJB? Right here. Can they really have Jey lose to Gunther 3 times in a row? No, you can't keep having him lose.
And Lizzie said that, yeah.
You just got to be careful with it. I thought Jimmy put on a good match with Carmelo Hayes. My issue in that situation is less on Jimmy. It's more on what are we doing with Carmelo, bro? Like, you got Braun Breaker looking like a star over here. And I guess maybe Carmelo's rise is supposed to be a little, more mediocre, I guess, like slowly climbing the rungs. But you have to do it. McKinney says, I think they'll give Jey the visual pen, but he's going to lose. But Jimmy should be trying to chase Shinsuke for the U.S. title. You could do that. I mean, if you wanted to. That seems kind of...
I want to clarify something for those who are not familiar with our product. Most everybody in here is, but just in case you're new, I do see a couple new faces. Welcome. The reason why I said to Conrad just now that Conrad is annoying me, not him, but his commentary is annoying me, is because I've been saying this and screaming this from the rooftops. Jey Uso checks most of the boxes. I'm not going to go down my full diatribe. I've done this many times before. I'm not going to waste but about 30 seconds of airtime tonight. Jey Uso checks most of the boxes. He's not a 5-star in-ring performer, but he's popular. He has a catchphrase, and he sells merch. Those are 3 out of the 4 boxes. That usually equates to world championships, or at least a world championship run. And WWE refuses to give him that opportunity. It's very upsetting, and it bothers me. This legit, Conrad, look at me. This genuinely bothers me. Like, on a very serious, like, outside of wrestling, this is about business for me. He checks the boxes, they won't give him a chance. Everybody should be able to relate to that. It's very upsetting. And when Jey Uso loses again on Saturday night, it's going to make me even more angry, because it's like, not only does he not get a world championship that he deserves, on paper he deserves, you keep having him lose world title matches. What's the point of that?
I think it's to help try to put the other guy over off of his popularity, but it's interesting. Delay Grass, I saw that first comment too. I had up. Joe Compton, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping in here, man. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to hit that like button. I didn't mention that yet. MJB says, I think Jey wins the title eventually, and Jimmy wins the Money in the Bank to challenge little bro Jey. Conrad, look at me. I am the captain now. I think Triple H loves taunting Shawn with Jey Uso and getting put in title matches. At this point, it's got to be like he knows, like, yeah, it's time to mess with Shawn.
I need to get off my bandwagon and retweet that Jey Uso for World Championship hashtag I've been throwing out there.
Like I said, I don't know what the plans are for Jey for Mania, but I think they'll start to take shape after the Rumble here. We'll see, though. He's still in the Rumble, too. And
that's another thing. That's annoying. He's going to be challenging for the World Championship late January, and then eventually going to end up doing what at WrestleMania? In a tag match?
That's what I think. It's going to be like him, Sammy, and I told you, I think it's going to be like a trios or a 4-on-4 or something.
Pathetic. Exactly.
Listen, and Jey Uso, to me, he's the guy who I could see being number 1 in the Rumble. Just he's so hot. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's Demolition. Here comes the X. And they're always, it's Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler to start out. Like, the guys who are hot, they always usually put in that spot.
You want a dope comparison? I just thought of it just now. Jey Uso is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
The underdog?
Jey Uso is good. Like, Notre Dame's good every year. And in this case, Notre Dame's on the doorstep of a championship, but nobody believes he's going to win.
Well, we know who Alabama is.
So, I'm just saying.
Throw him up.
From the great state of Alabama.
He'd be mad at us. He's Georgia Tech all the way.
Yeah.
Main event segment. They've added Shawn Michaels to the.
He is going to be there. He is challenging for the world title. So it is what it is. And yes, major contract signing also.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Shawn Michaels is going to be there. I don't know what stipulation they're trying to add to this. Maybe it's Kevin never challenges for the title. I don't know what they're doing here. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know. I don't know what we're doing. Cool that they're going to have Shawn Michaels featured here. I'm glad it's not Hogan. Honestly,
Just to be fair, my brother, just to be fair, because I'm always talking about Jey Uso, I feel the same way right now about Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, and for all intents and purposes, Kevin Owens should win this match at the Royal Rumble. He's not going to.
By the way, his shirt was Jive Fire at SmackDown when he came out. It said the Canadian Dream, and it said Dusty Rhodes used to wear the shirt that said the American Dream, son of a plumber. His said Canadian Dream, son of a what did it say, like health systems technician or something stupid.
No, but again, to your point, Conrad, because I'm piggybacking off of your point. Why all this momentum just for him to lose? Like, how many Royal Rumble championship matches? Forget title matches in general. How many Royal Rumble title matches is Kevin Owens going to lose?
Fam, it's a lot. Hold on, we got a question coming in because I think it's important because we've addressed this before, but we can address it again. Do you think executive holds the past DUI incidents over both Jey and Jimmy? I think they have learned from their mistakes. T-Ferg, I told Sean this a long time ago. I want you to think back to the year 2008 with Jeff Hardy. People were trying to convince Gomez at the time to give Jeff the title. He's your hot baby face. He's selling merch. People want this guy. Remember, go back to what was it? Randy Orton and him. I think he was still using the Hardy Boys music. Then we started getting the it's like they had all that going on.
Jeff was fire back then, bro.
Jeff was over in this similar spot. But can you trust a guy like that? I heard was what was uttered to one of the writers. If you've seen I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, you can guess who it is. So
shut your fat mouth, bro. Like I can't stand him. He's such a freaking hypocrite, bro. And y'all know who I'm talking. Conrad, oh my God. I'm not playing around right now.
But I told you, do you not believe that he cares about that?
100% right, Conrad. But he's such an a-hole for that, bro. That is such a hypocritical stance. Who the hell are you?
It goes back to what I said too about you're on the bus and they talked about the libations. Those are alcoholic beverages for those who don't know. Yes, Cody will get away with this. Why are you implicating Jey to this? Jey Uso gets to come out with I won't even call him out. Travis Scott, hip hop personalities, and they're coming out with a little bit of the devil's lettuce. Why would you put Jey in that spot? Because if Jey did it, he'd be over. People would be like, oh yeah. But I know backstage, what are you doing? And they would have went off on him.
Let me take your tremendous point to an even bigger level. It's almost like Triple H is trying to set him up to fail.
I think it's just coinkadinkly, but there's people who don't. Travis Scott is Travis Scott. No one's going to tell him what to do. Mm-hmm. Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion. No one's going to tell him what to do. Triple H, being in that spot previously, should know my friends and I did something stupid, and I was the only one who got punished for it. What are you going to do in the situation if Jey did take that, or if something did happen with the libations when they were on the press conference? Before you were going to go out to a press conference, why are you drinking? You don't know what you're going to say. I don't think that was wise either for like Jey to do that, but I don't think it was. Cody shouldn't have did it. Cody should have known better. That's what I'm trying to say as the champ. Like, wait until after you're done and go party. That's fine, but that's just how I feel. I don't know.
If I really didn't care about our show and about us continuing to do this, I would tell you what I think about Paul Levesque. And I'm talking about I would go I will say that I'm not going to go as far as I would normally go. He's such a freaking hypocrite. He's a hypocrite.
Well, I know you're going to bring up his friends, right? The Sean and Scott Hall were not choir boys, we'll say, back then.
Cut the crap.
But Yeah.
The fact that we're even talking about this, and shout out to who said that? Who brought up the whole situation? Yeah, shout out to T Ferg, because you're right. But you know what the sad part is? How long ago was that?
I want to say almost 10 years, maybe.
Almost 10 years,
maybe more.
And the fact, and under normal circumstances, I would love to say to you and T Ferg, no, that was 10 years ago. But because Triple H is a freaking, that probably does, and he's the type of person that, yo, you know what? 10 years ago, in 2014, you guys got thrown in jail for drinking and drop. Like, bro, are you serious?
I mean, look at Clown brings up a good point. Go look at RVD and Sabu. Same thing.
And Sab, let me tell you something. I don't count anybody in this category except Jey Uso and Jimmy also. You know why? Because everybody else got their moment. RVD was the WWE champion. I don't care if he lost it a week later. I don't care if Jeff Hardy, let me tell you something, Conrad. Oh my God. Let me tell you something, Conrad. You want me to get fired up? Let's get fired up. Jeff Hardy has won like 10 world titles. 10. I am so sick of people comparing Jeff Hardy to Jey Uso. You know how many world titles Jey Uso has won? None. Jeff Hardy has won championship after championship after championship. Don't compare them anymore.
Well, can I be fair? I think they're comparing the hurdles that they had to go through, though. Look at Rob Van Dam should have been the world champion in 2002, not 2006. Mm-hmm. He waited 4 years for what? I don't know. I think you missed the boat when he was most over in 01-02. But that's just me talking. Like, I think that's when you should have made that move. Same thing with Jeff Hardy. Like, you should have made the move, and he got the belt, and he didn't really hold it that long. He lost it like a defense or two later, if that. They always do this type of stuff, man, and it's just that's where it's at, Sean. Unfortunately, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe on Saturday night's main event, a miracle happens, and I come on here and I say, you know what, I was wrong, guys. Maybe we come on here and we say, you know, that stipulation's in Kevin's favor. I think he's going to win at the Royal Rumble. He's going to pull it off against Cody, but I just don't believe that in my heart of hearts at this moment in time.
KO's going to lose at Royal Rumble.
Rob, I know what you're saying, but people still don't act like that, if that makes any sense. They will hold it against you in a place where it's not, because it's bad PR and bad rep for the company. At least how they view it. Kofi Kingston, anybody? Yeah, it took Kofi a while to get there too. He should have been there. He should have never been pushed back down.
And even after he got there, one of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time, he loses to Brock in 9 seconds. Don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started.
New stipulation, KO got to join the New Day. Hopefully they progress that tonight too. We'll get into that. But I think now we are at the point where we are going to flip over to the AEW side of things. Let's talk real quick here. Sean, what did you think when you saw this one online? Cool photo op or people trying to be funny off of Eric Bischoff's Guantanamo Bay little thumbnail that he did?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I thought it was kind of like a play on, circumstance, but I'm not honestly sure.
It is a play on circumstance. Yeah. I fully believe it because I think it got deleted. They probably called him up. We're like, hey, you know how you work here, and we can tell you what to delete that, please.
Right.
That's where we're at with this, man. How do you feel about this though? Like Ray Phoenix still in the same situation that he's in. Personally, I've told you, I think I would just tell Tony, let this guy go.
I mean, look, a disgruntled employee, if I work for Conrad Cushman and I'm disgruntled, my work performance is not going to be what it's supposed to be, I would let him go, but I would let him go with provision. Okay, you can go, but, you got to give back some of your pay or your pay is going to be cut. Or you're not going to, whatever. You wouldn't leave with a paycheck, but you could go. Because honestly,
or pay out the rest of your contract. Buy it out for me.
There you go. Exactly. Good point.
How did you see Tom Pestock's comment on it?
No, I did not.
Do you know who that is even?
I have heard of him.
Big Baron Corbin, guys, for those who don't know. Yep. Baron Corbin commented on the situation, and he got called a AEW bootlicker. Like, they were going in on him like, oh, you just want a job with Tony. I kind of looked at it as he's weighing in from a wrestler's perspective on, because he probably got tired of people commenting on this day. Like, okay, guys, look, none of you know what's really going on with pro wrestling, so I'm going to tell you. And he just brought up that he should honor the contract. He said he didn't say you had to wrestle. He said, I'm going to pay you this much money between this time, and I'll use you how I'd like. He's doing that. I also think that it does drive the stock down of a wrestler too, or hurts them. But I think it also can add to it. Like now everybody's watching everything he says. The moment I'm sure people have notifications turned on for when Ray Phoenix tweets or puts up a picture, something like that. It doesn't help either that him and his brother, I think his brother had put up something too on like social media, sharing like something downplaying like AEW's Okada, Will Ospreay and Mercedes had this many views and Penta's did way more than that or whatever. And I was just like, ooh, like, what are you guys doing right now? Like, I listen, I always say this, keep bridges because you don't know who you're going to run into. Sean knows my current job. I ran into a boss that I had when I was probably 20, maybe 21 years old.
About 5 years ago?
5 years ago, that boss came back into when I went into an interview and I was like, oh man, I'm glad I treated this person right because you don't know who is going to be on the other side to help you later. So be careful, but it's pro wrestling. People napalm the village and they're like, let's make up. This world ain't big enough for all of us. Come on, you need me.
I can testify against you in a federal trial and then be your champion again.
Moving forward, what do you think of the whole Phoenix situation again? Like anything change for you, or are you like get rid of it?
I think Tony Khan should let him go.
Just get rid of him.
Cut your losses. Let him do his thing. Let him buy out his contract and call it a day. Because you're just looking like a vindictive jerk at this point.
Yeah, if he wants to leave, make him sign over all the money. Then just say, okay, well, I'm not going to pay you then.
Exactly, and I'm sure he would do that with bells on.
Yeah. If that's how you feel. Sticking with AEW side of things, man. Christopher Daniels had a big match on Collision. This is probably like 4 minutes in. He got wrecked by Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match, Sean. But it's believed, and we all knew, Hangman wins. He beats him with the Angel's Wings at the end there. Me and Beach were talking. Looks like he might be taking that move from him. I think Christopher Daniels is done. He said he didn't want to make a big deal about his retirement. He's still going to work backstage as talent relations, but that's the end of the career for Christopher Daniels. And Sean, I want to put something in perspective for you. It's going to make us feel old here. Just take a look at that. Do you remember this guy was everywhere? Everywhere. I just want to take a second just to reflect on Christopher Daniels' career. Like, dude's a beast.
Hall of Fame talent to me. I mean, I don't know if it's WWE Hall of Fame, but
started in 1993 while you were sitting there watching the Quebecers, Sean. Little Sean rolling around with a train in his underwear, sitting in the house, farting up a storm, doing whatever he's doing. Christopher Daniels is out here making moves, trying to become a pro wrestler. And in the year of 2025, we're starting to get grays in our beard, maybe. Well, not you, but I am. Little grays are starting to pop up, and I'm like, man, this dude's still going, man. It's crazy. And look at him now. He's wrestled for ECW, for those listening on audio, WCW, real WCW too, not that WWE stuff. Right. WWF during the Attitude Era. He was in the light heavyweight division and appeared on Metal, Jacked, and all those. He was at one point considered to be the higher power.
Interesting.
Yes. Rumors of Jake the Snake, $1 Million Man, and Christopher Daniels. Yep. He was in Ring of Honor. He got to win the big one there. TNA, I thought he should have been TNA champ one time, but they never gave it to him. But X Division legend in TNA. PWG, he's been there. New Japan, NWA, NOAH, AAA, Chikara, AEW, you name it, this guy has done it. Much respect to Christopher Daniels in his career.
Dude has had a Hall of Fame career. It's unfortunately, though, he's been in so many different places. I guess the place that I would say he could get into the Hall of Fame would probably be TNA, or maybe New Japan. But he's definitely earned his respect, and he definitely had one of the best moonsaults ever.
And pass it on to someone who's got one of the prettiest ones ever. Shout out to Tiffany Stratton.
BME.
I see people still talking about it. Yeah. I hear you guys about the moves here. T-Ferg, another thing, he's bringing up the Lucha Bros again. I'll say this. I don't think they were treated badly either. Like, I know people are going to come, look at how they were dropping the ball. They fumbled the bag. Another overused phrase, by the way, in wrestling right now. Fumbled the bag, fumbled them. They didn't fumble them. You got to be the tag team champions. You were in one of the best matches in 2021, peak AEW in a steel cage match with the Young Bucks. You were trios champions. Ray Phoenix got an international title reign. Even if it was for a cup of coffee, he still had the championship. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Like I always talk about, resumes.
Yep. Christopher Daniels, a true pioneer of pro wrestling modern style. Yes, that's true. A Hall of Fame talent. It sucks he never had a TNA world title run. Yeah, he was in one of the first main events for Ring of Honor, too. People don't know. Dude is deep in the business like Eric Young. A little gray. I'm turning into Santa over here. Shout out to the Fallen Angel. Yes. Big ups to the homie Christopher Daniels. Moving on, Sean, let's talk about making an impact. WWE and TNA announced a multi-year partnership that was already going on, but they just put out a press release for it because that's what they do.
The press release reads as follows: WWE and TNA.
I was gonna say, you don't even need to read all this.
Oh, okay.
Listen, guys. We've talked about it. They're working together. Whoop-de frickin' do. We know that. Like, you're not gonna fool me into thinking like, oh no, they're not working together.
Flash.
And I personally think there's a game to this, Sean, but go ahead. I'll tell you what my game plan is here for it in a little bit. At least the news that I think you'll start hearing from it. But what do you think of the official partnership now? You hear, guys, Fraxium's here now at your pay-per-view.
I would say that I think it's now official that TNA, that NXT has always been WWE's developmental territory, and now WWE has made TNA NXT's developmental territory.
Yep. It's a good place to harbor people. And that sounds horrible the way I said it. It's a good place to store people from the WWE ID deal when they get sick of being on that $40,000 a year contract, that promise ring, as I like to call it. Yeah, we're going to get you one day if we need to. Now you can say, well, I'll send you to TNA and we'll pay you $80K. We'll double it for you. You can't do it with everybody, but you could do it for a few and just say like, yeah, go over here. Stay with us. We need you still.
We need you. Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll call you when the time is right, and we'll see how that stuff ends up working out, but it should be quite interesting, which, by the way, for WWE, business-wise, once again, smart. Ethics-wise, this seems a little shady, some of it. So, Conrad's going to put on his tinfoil hat, Sean. You ready for this?
I'm ready for you, brother.
This is going to go back to my whole ECW, WCW analogy. If number one, WWF, helps number three financially because you need money to compete against number two, you're using them because number three can never mess with you. That you're controlling the money. You're controlling what's going to happen. WWF's working with ECW. Here's Aldo Montoya, just incredible. And then they took him back right after and they win. They reap all the rewards. Like, I don't understand how people don't do their history on this. Like, it's there.
It's a complete manipulation.
It 100% is. And not only that, do you know who else they're going to try to manipulate? Sean, where is Raw going to be airing tonight in 20 minutes?
Beats me.
What is it on? What station is it on? Monday Night Raw.
Netflix. I thought you meant the city. Netflix.
No, that's fine. It's on Netflix, right?
And by the way,
Dallas,
Texas, right there.
Yes, because they were just TNA was just in Texas. More on that in a second.
Wow.
So when you do something like that, right? Think about what I'm saying here for a second. What did they just give up then if they're not on cable anymore? Media rights deals across the globe because everything's on Netflix now, right?
Right.
Well, who's going to air Raw in India? We don't have that deal anymore. It's all on Netflix. So that deal's wide open. I'm sure Sony's like, well, we still have cable. We need to get something on here. What are your choices? All Elite Wrestling, because Tony Khan, I'm sure, would love to come in for the swoop. That company's not cool. You don't want them. Look at TNA. They're on the rise, brother. Give them the deal because it hurts their pockets and you can keep them down. Think, people. I know, Conrad, you hate WWE. Listen, bro. This is business Conrad talking right now. If you were like, what's the next play? This is the play in the playbook. Like, okay,
and I'm gonna say you're 100% right. That's exactly how it would play out.
How do you think they got that new deal in Canada? They're on Sportsnet 360, bro. That's one of the best places for sports. How did TNA get on there? What proof have they given you that you're like, yeah, we got to have this company?
It's because of the WWE affiliation.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
And TNA's so desperate for it that they're going to get it. But how do you wind up in the end? How do you win from this TNA? That's the question that they have to figure out. If it's just to have that namesake, TNA's never going to get bigger if they stay on Access TV. You're not. You have to. But why would you sell it, Sean? Pretend you're Access, though. Why would you sell it? You own a cable company. They're the #1 rated thing on Spike, let's just say. I'm making up a channel right now. Why are they not rated #1 on ours anymore? Well, we sold it, sir. Well, we're about to go out of business. Why did you sell it? I'm sorry. Get rid of 10 wrestlers. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, come on.
Well said, Conrad. You're right on the money.
This is business, people, and I get it. Me and Sean, oh, yeah, forget the ethics and all that stuff. No, but you got to think about this, too. Like, this seems not correct, and it could be easy to fool other people who just think, oh, WWE is WWE. I've done business with them. I guess I should listen to them again. They've always done right by me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's shady. It's shady business practices. Doesn't mean it's illegal, but it's shady.
Thank you, Quills. La-dee freaking da. That's exactly how I felt when I read that press release. I'm like, it's the same thing. I've just seen people going crazy. I've seen this. Is TNA the #2 promotion talk? Pump your brakes.
Absolutely.
Pump your brakes. TNA will never grow on Access TV. If D'Amore bought it, it would have grown because he would have wanted it to. I'm not even going to go that far with Scott D'Amore saying it would have grown. I think Scott had plans, though, for creative and stuff that he wanted to do.
There was definitely stuff on the table in his mind.
Speaking of that, TNA Genesis, Sean, nice NXT logo there, by the way, guys. That doesn't take away from any of this. So, Sean, what did you think of this show last night?
It was all right. I mean, I thought that they did a good job for what they put on. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the women's match between Jordan Grace and you-know-who, but I like the title change at the top of the card. I really enjoyed Mike Santana getting the victory over Josh Alexander.
That was my match of the night right there.
It definitely was. And I was surprised that the Hardys retained, even though I predicted they would. I was surprised that they would retain. And look, at the end of the day, a little NXT influence, you got a little Cora Jade fighting.
You know what the Hardys want. By the way, Busted Open hosted the pre-show on this a little bit. Bully Ray and Matt Hardy been going back and forth about maybe we should have one more match. Dudley's Hardys. Where at, though? Oh, for what belts? Here it comes. That's all you can hear from me. Here it comes.
Grandstanding and show stopping on your way out the door.
That's how they got to get down, man. Like I said, Joe Hendry becoming the TNA World Champion, good for him. Masha Slamovich is someone who I think is now on their radar. I think Shawn Michaels sees the work and likes the work from her, and I think that would be a smart pickup for them. But once again, TNA can't afford any L's. Jordan Grace loses to Tessa Blanchard. Jordan Grace is on her way out. I heard that was it. It's over. They're smashing cake in the face, Sean. They're doing everything like, oh, we'll miss you. I noticed she didn't hug Tessa in that video, by the way. It was the funniest cut. It was like watching brothers and sisters. I'm gonna miss you, man, going to college. It just went right past her. I was like, peep that game real quick. But overall, I thought it was a fun show. Like I said, matches to watch. If you like WWE style matches, Nick Nemeth, Joe Hendry. Great women's wrestling. Jordan Grace and Slamovich. If you're into the hardcore GCW stuff at Rosemary, go see that. They had something for everybody here. You like that AEW style, Moose and Ace Austin, Josh Alexander, Mike Santana. Even the tag match, like you said, wasn't awful. You could have some fun with it.
Yep.
So
when I think about TNA Genesis, I say it was what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it delivered. Like I said, great shot. They're in an arena that AEW runs often, and it looked great. It looked fantastic, and I'm happy that they had a full crowd. I just hope that they know what is going to come along with all of this. Joe Hendry probably going to be in the Royal Rumble. He's going to be on that Jericho crew stuff that they have going on, and it's leading to some questions. I think he'll be in the Rumble. I think we both predicted that, right?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah, I can see him coming out number 3. Like Jey Uso's in there with like another heel, maybe Drew or somebody, and then you hear say his name at like number 3. He appears. But he's gonna do a slow entrance. He's gonna come out there with the TNA title. Shake that title for us, please, brother. Maybe someone will come back over here and do it. So good for TNA. I hope this partnership is fruitful towards both sides, and I hope that we get to see some equal playing from it, but we won't see the residuals of that until later on.
Keyword, both sides.
Yeah. Let me see here. I'm guessing Tessa Blanchard is staying with TNA. Yes, I think WWE said sign her, and you guys take the lumps basically for it. Like you're taking all the heat, and then after the heat dies down, all right, we'll take her, snatch her up, and then book her against Charlotte and do the match that you always wanted to do because there's money on the table there with Blanchard and Charlotte.
Factual.
You may not like it, but it's what's best for business on both ends. TNA will eventually need to find a TV home, and who better to help them than the 5 Bill Company? I hear you, but
still doesn't feel right.
You got to be careful.
In the immortal words of Bobby the Brain Heenan, it smells funny.
Here's the thing: you're selling a bad bill of goods to. I assume they believe Cable's going to die, so they're selling a bad bill of goods to people to speed up the death of Cable as well. I think Spike TV was actually a TV channel during the Attitude Era and a televised Raw. Yeah, way back in the day. Quills, crazy. Tessa Grace, amazing. Yeah, the show was good. Like I said, I have no issue with what they put on. I'm worried about the future of TNA.
Yeah,
like what are you going to wind up doing?
Because if they ever feel like what the elephant in the room nobody's talking about, what happens if WWE decides to cut them loose? Then what?
That's true. TNA felt
that deal was more WWE based than TNA based.
Yeah, and look at this too. I forgot during the match they did say she's a racist in Texas. That's crazy work.
I sent you a clip, bro.
I was trying not to say it, but I feel like we have to address it. Yeah, they chanted she's a racist. Delay Grat says, I'm happy for TNA, but folks, this partnership favors WWE by design. They'll use TNA as a beta test zone. You're naive if you think WWE wants another TV competitor. Hunter, sign them Tonga Twins pronto. Oh, good Lord. Oh, he's talking about for a while. Yes. I peep it. E, what's good, bro? What's good? Let's move on. This one right here is for Clown in the chat. The People versus GCW also happened yesterday.
That was a good show.
It was a long show. Like I told people I don't ever want to hear nothing about no AEW show again. I'm sitting there, I'm like, it is 12:15. This is still on. Like, what's going on?
I like long shows.
I know I don't have an issue with it. If you're gonna show out. Yeah. Do what you're gonna do. I mean, if this is like their WrestleMania, great. PCO was at the show. And destruction of the TNA digital media title were legitimate. He is done with TNA. I think I sent you what kind of happened with the background on it, Sean. I'm gonna summarize this for people just for the sake of time, okay? PCO, formerly known as one half of the Quebecers, they were out here in these streets trying to make something happen. So PCO came in Honor No More. Scott D'Amore made a favor, called them in. They're both from Canada. And PCO ended up helping push that Slammiversary show, which was in Montreal, I believe. PCO knew some people. He made some moves, shook some things up, and he was promised you'll be the world champion on Scott D'Amore's dime. Now, listen, you can't fall for the okie doke in pro wrestling. Like, yeah, I'm going to hook you up. Now he ain't there. So he never got his promise, and they just gave him the digital media championship. PCO probably wasn't happy about that. It was like, what is this, bro?
Can you say consolation prize?
Yeah. And I think he was very unhappy with how he got treated at the end there. Like, yo, we made promises. Like, I helped you sell out this building. This is ridiculous. I moved a lot of merch. Like, what's up with this? And they were kind of just like, oh, well, like this is what we want to do. Mike Santana, like I said, is the future of that company. And I get that you'd have to do that. Are you about to pass up Mike Santana and Joe Hendry for PCO in 2025? I don't think so. But I get why. This goes back to the Corey Graves thing. I get why PCO is mad, though. Like, you promised me something, you failed to deliver. So he smashed up the championship last night and kind of went on a rant. And there was an awkward cut on like the video clip where it was like, show a video package, please. Let's get away from that after smashing the title with a hammer. Your thoughts on it, Sean?
I mean, look, he has a legitimate gripe, but at the same time, business is business. I think that PCO has shown himself to be a stand-up individual. He was just fed up. There comes a point where it's like when you're promised something, again, like you said accurately, Conrad, sometimes the wrestling business lies to you. But at the same time, you have to understand, hey, listen, these are human beings. Just like you're promised a raise on your job and you never get it, you're going to get pissed off if you don't get it about the fourth time you've been lied to. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And I think Scott D'Amore leaving, like I said, hurt some of those relationships. Rhino, gone. PCO, now gone. And Sean, what did we say? Your time is ticking on Joe Hendry. You just lost Jordan Grace. How long before they come knocking on the door for Tessa? Yep. How long before they're like, we could use the Rascals on SmackDown in our tag division?
Absolutely.
You got to be careful with how you make these moves.
And to me, what you're saying is not even a question of if, it's a question of when.
Right. So I just hope that they're being smart here with everything that's happening. Nightmare, good point about that. WCW, ECW weren't enough for WWE. PCO did TNA a favor. Who's going to miss the digital media title? Wow, man. WWE Delayed Grass says WWE absorbed WCW and ECW to kill them off to avoid antitrust attention. They're partnering with TNA and WWE ID affiliates 100% because they just got in trouble for that. And that's why they had to pay MLW $20 million. But people don't read and like to know that stuff. According to GCW, they were under the impression PCO was going to cut a promo, set something up for the TNA next tapings. That's why they cut the feeds. Yeah. And apparently it sounds like he's not coming back. He was supposed to be at the taping, but I don't think PCO is coming back. I don't think
it's a wrap for him. It's a Rizzy.
It's a wrap, Rizzy. Alley Catch, by the way, was in a match. I don't want to put up the picture. I could have put it up, but I don't want to show you guys that. There are certain things that you remember where you were in football, basketball, when you saw, it's kind of like Sid, right? You remember where you were when you saw Sid in the accident.
Yeah, I'll never forget it.
Alley Catch's accident was pretty nasty as well. Here's the x-ray that she had posted from it. 2 breaks, as you can see. Not good. And that was her big match against Effie, her former tag team partner. It was supposed to have some big blow-offs and big crescendo that went off here, but he ended up getting the win by ref stoppage, and they ended up doing a match with him and Mance Warner for the world title, and Effie became the world champion. Spoiler alert for anyone who didn't want to know, but he became the world champion for GCW. Congrats to Effie for getting the championship. I know that's a big deal for him, but
under very unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah. Just, I don't think he wanted to see his former partner. I'm sure they're good friends too. Allie go out like that. They set up a GoFundMe. I think it hit the goal. It was really close to it before. So if anyone's a big fan, they can donate to Alley Catch's GoFundMe. That is up on social media. I believe Steph DeLander has it up as well.
And it's definitely good to support our fallen wrestlers and make sure that they know that they're loved and hopefully on the comeback trail.
Yeah, and tell those promoters to support them as well. I think they need better care in the world of pro wrestling. 100%. Wednesday, me and Derek will have a Dynamite review. We got Cope versus Peck. All caps for those. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay will go face-to-face. I think we were going to get new tag team champions as Private Party go up against the Hurt Syndicate, Julia Hart versus Jamie Hayter 2, and Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne. All that will be on TBS or streaming on Max. Looking forward to that show in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm sure there's still tickets available in the wonderful place of Knoxville. TNA Impact this Thursday. You're going to get the NXT Tag Champions Fraxium versus the Rascals. There were some issues in their match with the Hardys, and some hits accidentally happened, and that's where we are. Sean, I'm going to put up the Raw ones, man. Run it down, my brother. Run it down.
Tonight, you will have a WrestleMania 40 rematch between Seth Rollins, and the man they call Drew McIntyre. The guy has definitely grown on me. I'm starting to see his value in WWE for sure. Moving on, we have New Day having opportunity to continue to speak if the fans allow them to, a la Dominic Mysterio. It's a situation where the New Day is going to give a little bit more insight on what they have going on moving forward in the future. Probably have something to do with challenging for the World Tag Team Championship. Next up, you have looks like a tag match of some sort between Snap Famous ABC
Zoe Starks. What is it? Pure Fusion Collective and Damage Control?
Damage Control, what's left of Damage Control. Shout out to Dakota Kai and Io Sky. I think they're talented, but I think they should, stop this whole Damage Control thing. And the Zoe Stark team is just not going to work out for me. The new Intercontinental Women's Champion will be in the building. I'm sure she'll have some things to talk about, as she is the first ever IC champion in the women's division. Valkyrie in the building.
You think this is where Becky ends up falling back into this?
I think so. I think it's on the horizon. Absolutely.
Just putting it out there.
The number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, former Intercontinental Champion Jey Uso, will be in the building. I'm sure he will have commentary regarding Gunther. If I know anything about pro wrestling, 9 times out of 10, tonight will be the night where Gunther gets a little bit of payback, or maybe Jey Uso gets left laying in the ring. I doubt Jey Uso comes out on top. That's not the nature of how WWE does their business. Typically, it's a situation where the challenger gets the upper hand, then the champion gets the upper hand going into the match on Saturday night. And special guest John Bradshaw Layfield will be in the building. Why? I don't know. What will he be doing? On commentary, probably.
He's been part of some TNA storylines and other places on the indies. So are they? No one's explained why he's been clotheslining people randomly.
Absolutely. So he'll be in the building. The former WWE champion, the former longest reigning SmackDown champion ever, will be in the building before Roman Reigns, that is. And Sami Zayn will have words for us as well, as he's going to have some commentary about his career and where he goes moving forward, especially after his interaction with the Bloodline.
I love someone put the single syllable showdown between Cope and Pac. Love it. I love it. Sorry to hear about Allie. Yes, Mike Santana, I believe, is injured. I think he had some injury he has to deal with still. Yeah, heartbreaking. I see a lot of people that say it. Absolutely. I'm trying to get everyone's comments up here, man. But Sean, man, let's take us out, man. We got 2 minutes until Monday Night Raw. I want to get everybody out of here. So
make sure you guys are watching Netflix tonight, because we definitely want to support pro wrestling. Regardless of my feelings about WWE, I do feel like the first 2 episodes of Monday Night Raw on Netflix have been watchable, and hopefully tonight will be as well. I'll be turning back and forth between that and Notre Dame challenging Ohio State for the national championship and the biggest game in Notre Dame history since 1988. So with that being said, a lot of things going on, man. Definitely looking forward to the future. Looking forward to Saturday night's main event. Make sure you guys check out Hubbard Wrestling Weekly on the night of Saturday night's main event, because if Jey Uso does become the new World Heavyweight Champion, I will go live with a reaction video on that night. So that's if he wins the title. If he wins the title, you can make sure and bet your bottom dollar I will be live that night. That's an if. I got a when for you. When? On January 30th, 2025. Myself, Conrad, will present a Clash of the Podcast episode on Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, and our special guest will be Jesse of the Pro Wrestling Shoot, and we will give you a full preview of the Royal Rumble. So with that being said, on behalf of my tag team partner, Brother Conrad Cushman, my name is Sean Hubbard. We got a lot of stuff going on. Happy New Year once again. Happy Martin Luther King Day. God bless. Be encouraged. Evil never prevails. Until next week.